You wake up in a bed you didn't buy, in a house whose address you don't fully know, because there are three of them and the staff refers to this one as the winter property. Ken, May 2025. It's April. There is no logic you can access. The sheets are Egyptian cotton with a thread count so high they feel like water, and someone changed them at 7 this morning while you were still asleep in the guest wing. Moving so quietly, you never stirred. You reach for your phone, and there's a text from a number saved simply as Family Office. It says the car will be ready at 9. You didn't ask for a car. You never ask for a car. The car is simply always ready. This is the first thing nobody tells you about being inside a billionaire's family. You expect it to feel like winning. It feels like disappearing, because the money isn't yours, and everyone in the room knows exactly whose it is. And that arithmetic, who earned it, who married into it, who was born into it, who is merely orbiting it, that arithmetic governs everything, every glance, every seat at every dinner. You are not a person here. You are a position on a chart that a wealth manager in a glass office actually drew, with your name in a small box connected by a thin grey line to the box that matters. Let me back you up, because you didn't arrive here by helicopter. You arrived by falling in love, or by being born to the right cousin, or by being the college roommate who got adopted into the fold. It doesn't matter which. What matters is the moment you cross the threshold, and the moment is always the same. Someone hands you a phone, a new one, wiped, set up in your name, and explains gently that for security reasons, the family prefers everyone on the same encrypted system. You say thank you. You are grateful. You do not yet understand that you have just been given a leash so soft, you'll mistake it for a gift for years. The first dinner teaches you the grammar. You sit down at a table that seats 14, and there are 11 of you, and there is a man at the head. Call him the principal, because that's what the staff call him when he isn't in the room, and everything bends toward him like plants toward a window. Nobody says this. Nobody has to. When he speaks, forks go down. When he tells a story you've heard 4 times, you laugh at the part where you're supposed to laugh, and your laugh has to land a half second after his daughter's, never before. Because arriving early at the joke signals you think you're closer to him than you are. You learn this in one night. Your body learns it before your mind does. And here's what nobody warns you about the food. It's the best food you will ever eat, prepared by a chef who trained in Lyon, and you will barely taste it because you are too busy calculating. That's the private tax of proximity to enormous money. Your entire nervous system reroutes toward reading the room. Is the principal pleased? Is the wife watching you? Did you use the correct fork? And does it even matter? And the terrifying answer is that it does and it doesn't. Depending entirely on his mood that no one can predict, and everyone spends the day trying to forecast. You start to see the tears now. Let me draw them for you because they're real and rigid, and no one will ever say them out loud. At the top, obviously, the principal, the source, the son. Below him, the spouse, whose power is total but conditional, borrowed, revocable. Then the bloodline children, who move through the world knowing the money is theirs by nature, so they never perform gratitude, and their carelessness is itself a status symbol. They can be late, they can be rude, they can lose a Rolex at a beach club and shrug because the wealth is an extension of their body. Then the in-laws, which might be you, smiling harder than anyone, useful and replaceable in the same breath. Then, below all of it, the staff. And here's the cruel part you'll notice by week 2. The staff often understand the family's real dynamics better than the family does because their survival depends on it, exactly like yours now depends on it. You have more in common with the house manager than with the woman you married. You just can't say so. The money reveals itself slowly and then all at once. You go to buy something small, a coffee, a book, and reach for your own card out of habit, and someone stops you. Not that card. There is a card for that. There are, in fact, cards for everything, each one a small confession about how they see you. You are given a monthly allowance that is more than your old annual salary, deposited by the family office, and you feel rich for exactly one afternoon. Then you overhear the principal mention, casually over the phone, a wire that has more zeros than you can process, and you understand that your allowance is a rounding error. A tip, a number so small it doesn't appear on any statement anyone important reads. And that recalibration, feeling wealthy at dawn and invisible by dinner, becomes your new baseline. You live there now, in the gap. The gap has rules, and the first rule is that you must never, ever ask about the money directly. You learn this the way you learn a stove is hot. At a lunch, sun on the terrace, you make the mistake of asking, lightly, you think, charmingly, how a particular deal was going. The table doesn't gasp. It does something worse. It goes smooth. Faces close like doors on soft hinges. And the principal smiles at you, the way you'd smile at a child who wandered into a boardroom. And he changes the subject to the weather, and you feel a cold drop from your throat to your stomach because you understand you've just been marked. Not punished. Marked filed. From then on, the seating is a little different. You are one place farther from the head. Nobody announces it. You simply notice, over months, that you keep ending up near the end of the table, by the cousin nobody listens to. And you realize the table is a map of your standing and you have been demoted for the crime of curiosity. So you adapt. Everyone adapts. This is the thing you become: a reader, a forecaster, a person whose main occupation is anticipating the mood of one man. You learn his tells. When he taps his ring twice on the glass, the evening is ending, and you'd better already be reaching for your jacket. When he calls you kiddo, you're safe. When he uses your full name, something is wrong, and you spend the next 3 days replaying every word you've said. There's a family group chat on that encrypted phone, and you watch how fast people respond to him. Instantly, always, laughing emojis at his one-line jokes at 11 at night, and how his own children respond to each other with silence. A silence full of decades of scorekeeping you'll never fully decode. And the holidays. God, the holidays. You picture, before your first one, something out of a film: snow, laughter, a warmth that money buys. What you get is a private jet where nobody talks, everyone on their own device, a flight attendant who knows all their allergies and none of their names for each other. You land somewhere impossibly blue, a villa staffed by 20, and you discover that the richest people you will ever meet are frequently the most bored, because desire is the one thing money kills fastest. When you can buy anything, the wanting evaporates. And without wanting, the days go strange and long. You watch a grown man who could purchase a small country, stare at the sea with the flat eyes of someone who cannot remember the last time he felt surprised. Here is the truth: they build the whole machine to hide. The money does not trickle. It concentrates. It pools at the top, and everything below it is a system of managing access to the pool. The prenup you signed, and you signed one, everyone signs one, was 40 pages, and you skimmed it because you were in love. And buried on page 29 was the clause that means if this ends, you leave with roughly what you came with, plus a settlement calculated to be generous enough to keep you quiet and small enough to remind you that you were always a guest. The house was never yours. The cards get cancelled with a phone call. The car that is always ready to take you somewhere, and one day, if the principal decides, it takes you to the airport, one way. You start to see the ones who came before you. There's a name that surfaces sometimes: the first spouse of one of the children, spoken in a lowered voice. Someone who is simply gone now, edited out of the photographs, off the chat, off the map. Nobody says what happened. You understand that nobody has to. You understand that you are one bad year, one cooling of affection, one wrong question away from becoming a lowered voice yourself. And yet, you don't leave, and this is the part you have to be honest about, because the softest leash is the one you'd choose again. The comfort is real. The fear of returning to the ordinary world, the world of your own card, your own weather, your own small apartment where no one changes the sheets, that fear is a wall. So you stay. You get very, very good at the game. You learn that the ones who survive inside this family are not the loudest or the most useful. They're the ones who make the principal feel understood without ever needing anything from him. You become indispensable by wanting nothing, or by hiding that you want, which is the same performance held long enough that you forget which one it is. So now, years in, you wake up in the bed you didn't buy, and there's the text: the car will be ready at 9 and you no longer feel the cold drop in your stomach. You feel nothing, and then you feel a small, expert calm, because you know the tells now, you know the seating, you know exactly how far you are from the head of the table and exactly how to stay there. You reach for the phone that isn't quite yours, in the house, whose address you still don't fully know, and you text back a single word: perfect. The staff moved through your room while you slept, and you never stirred. That, in the end, is what it's like. Not the wealth. The stillness of a person who has learned to disappear so beautifully that he calls it home.